Krystal Everdeen, and today I'm going to show you how to crochet this simple bralette. For this project, I'm using size 4 yarn from the brand Loops and Threads, and it is 100% acrylic. I am also using a size 5mm hook. And the first thing that we're going to do is grab our yarn and create a slip knot, and from that slip knot we are going to chain a chain that is long enough to wrap around our entire torso. So just keep crocheting chains until the chain is long enough to wrap around your body, and once it is long enough to wrap around your body, then we're going to go back on that chain with a triple crochet. And if you're unfamiliar with what a triple crochet is, it is yarn over through the stitch, then yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through one loop, yarn over through two loops, then yarn over through the last two loops. Again, it's yarn over through the stitch, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through one loop, yarn over through two loops, yarn over through the last two loops, again, yarn over through the stitch, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through one loop, yarn over through two loops, yarn over through the last two loops. One more time, yarn over through the stitch, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through one loop, yarn over through two loops, and yarn over through the last two loops. And I really wanted to make sure that you knew what I was doing for this stitch, because this is the stitch that we're going to be using throughout the entire project. So yeah, it's a triple crochet, and you're just going to create a whole row of triple crochets on this chain until you reach the very end. And once you reach the very end of the chain and you've already made your last triple crochet of the row, that one row of triple crochet that you just created should look something like this. And once you have completed that first row of triple crochet, you're going to grab the ends of the project and combine them together using a slip stitch. So instead of you going back and forth on the project, you're going to be going round and round. So yeah, we're going to turn this linear project into a circular one, and all you're going to do is align the two ends together and then slip stitch through both of them. That way they are attached. Just make sure that the project is not twisted, because that's going to be really frustrating when you realize that the project is twisted after you have attached the two ends. And after the two ends are attached, you're going to now have a project that is circular as opposed to linear. So instead of you going back and forth on the project, you're going to be going around and around. But essentially, it's going to be the same exact thing. So I'm going to chain one at the end, or rather at the beginning of this row, and I'm just going to continue with the rest of the project by making rows and rows of triple crochet. So yeah, as I said before, we're going to be using triple crochet throughout the entire project. However, if you do want to make this project using a different stitch, say you prefer a single crochet or a double crochet, that's totally up to you. The steps are still going to be the exact same, it's just going to look a little bit different. And yeah. So once you have completed your first row of a triple crochet, I'm just going to say triple crochet because that's what I'm using, you're going to reach the very end right here, and once you have made that last triple crochet of the row, you're going to slip stitch into the first triple crochet that you made in that row, and that's going to complete the row, and it's going to have a nice smooth finish. And after you've completed that second row of triple crochet, then you just need to make more and more. And you're just going to continue with this pattern until you're satisfied with the length of it. The part that we're working on right now is the part that's going to cover your torso. So it's everything that's underneath the cups. So however long you want that to be, then that's how long you make this portion of the project. Mine is more of a bralette as opposed to a top, so this portion of my project is actually very small compared to someone who would want to make this into an actual top. So yeah, just put the project against your body, and once you're satisfied with the length of this portion of the project, then you can move on to the next step, which is to make the cups. So yeah, now that I'm at this point, I'm going to make the triangular cups. And first what I need to do is actually mark out where exactly I would like to make my cups, because this is a circular project, so I could really make them anywhere, but they obviously need to be even. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the project against myself and then indicate from which point to which point I would want my cup to be. So after I put the project against myself and indicated which stitches I wanted to create the cups within, I'm going to triple crochet my way over to the first marker. This is the first marker. And I'm going to then triple crochet my way to the second marker, which is right over there. And once I reach the second marker, I'm just going to stop right there. I'm not going to go all around the project. I'm only going to be working in between the two markers, and the two markers are the two stitches in which I want the cup to be made. So at the end of the row, I'm going to chain 2, flip the project over, and then just go into the very first stitch of the new row, and then triple crochet my way over to the first marker. And then once I reach the first marker, I'm going to chain 2 and then go into the very first stitch of the new row and then make my way over to the second marker, and so on and so forth. Just go back and forth, only in between those two markers. And little by little, it's going to start building more and more rows of triple crochet, and as you go along, you're going to see that you're forming the cup. Okay, so here's the plan. From here, we're going to make the triangular cup, and then we're going to make the strap. And then I'm going to single crochet my way over to the other side of the project and then make the cup the exact same way, as well as the strap, and then after that we are done. Okay, so back to this portion of the project. So I'm going to just make a couple more rows of triple crochet as I have been doing, by going into the very first stitch of the new row and then going into every stitch of the row. But once I have reached the point where I put the project against myself and it covers half of my breast, then I'm going to do something different. I'm going to start making the project more triangular. So at the end of each row, I'm actually going to start skipping the second stitch. And what that's going to start doing is pulling the project and decreasing the number of stitches per row, so it's going to get smaller and smaller as we go along, and it's also going to be looking more triangular as we go along, which is exactly what we want. And again, the only difference that I am doing is skipping that second stitch of the new row. So once I reach the end of the row, I'm still going to chain 2, go into the first stitch, but then I'm just going to skip over that second stitch and then go into the rest of the stitches of the row. And again, I'm going to start doing this after I have reached the point where I put the project against myself and it covers half of my breast. Now, I do have a small chest, so that's why I only had to make a couple of rows, but if you have a larger chest than me, then your project will look different. You'll definitely need to make more rows of triple crochet before you get to this point of the project. But yeah, you're just going to continue skipping that second stitch until you get to the very, very top, and you only have one stitch that is the entire row, and that's when you know that you're done. So after you have reached the very top of your triangular cup, you're going to make a strap, and to make the strap, you're simply going to chain from there, and you're going to chain as many chains as it takes for it to go around your shoulder and down your back and reach the back side of the project. And once it is long enough to do that, you're going to slip stitch into one of the stitches on the back side of the project and attach the strap like that. And then you're going to go back on that strap using a slip stitch, just so it can make the strap a little bit thicker, sturdier, and also the chain won't dig into your skin. So after you have come back from making slip stitches all along the chain or the strap, I'm simply going to single crochet my way down the side of the cup to the other side of the project so I can make the other cup the exact same way I made the first cup. So again, I'm going to put the project against myself and then mark out from which point to which point I want the cup to be. And once I have made those markers, I'm only going to work in between those markers. And at the end of each row, I'm going to chain 2 and then go into every single stitch of that row. And I'm just going to make rows and rows of that until that portion of the project covers half of my breast. And then once it covers half of my breast, I'm going to move on to the next step, which is skipping that second stitch in every row and making every row smaller and smaller until I get to the very top. And once I reach the very top, I'm going to make my second strap the exact same way I made the first strap, and I'm going to chain as many chains as it takes in order for it to wrap around my shoulder and down my back to the back portion of the project. And then I'm going to slip stitch that strap onto the back, and once that is nice and attached, I'm going to go back on that chain with a slip stitch just to make it a little bit thicker. And then once I have gone all along that chain with a slip stitch and reached the project again, I'm going to be done with the project. And you can just detach the yarn from the yarn ball right here. However, I am going to unravel this project and then use the yarn for a different tutorial. So I'm just going to single crochet my way along the side of the project right here to the back, so you won't really see the yarn, and I could just show you the bralette as it is. But I'm assuming that if you're making this for yourself that you will not unravel it, so just detach the yarn from the yarn ball and then you will be done with the project. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a big thumbs up before you go. And if you like crochet videos in general, please check out the rest of my channel. I have so many other crochet tutorials, and I think that you'd really enjoy them. So yeah, thanks so much again for watching. Please don't forget to click that red subscribe button if you have not already, so I can see you next time. Bye!